was originally planned to have two candidates come up on stage and share their pitch. For due to personal reasons, one had to bow out, so we are left with one campaign to come here today, and that will actually wrap up the the campaigns for the chancellor candidacy. Now, I want to, before we get into this final campaign, and I do know that there's a lot of anticipation for the candidate that is coming up on stage here to share his vision. I want to um, thank the first seven candidates that came up on stage to share their vision with each and every one of us. I think I can speak on the behalf of the Galactic Senate and thank each and every one of them for their thoughtful delivery, for their willingness to put themselves up on stage and run for the immensely responsible role for the future of the Reaper's galaxy and for the entertainment, engagement, and decision making for this world moving forward. I know that given the amount of audience and attendance that has been arriving for each and every one of those campaign sessions, I can tell that a lot of people are taking this decision very seriously, as they should. Um, this is the final. This is the first or the third phase of the final vote for stage one of the Reaper's experience, and what that means is, um, if you're staying active and if you're participating and have been following along through this final vote structure, it means that you are fulfilling your roles and responsibilities as a Galactic Senate. And I can't think of a greater responsibility than deciding who the next chancellor of this universe and galaxy will, or of the galaxy will be. What an amazing honor, what an opportunity, and what a fun way for us to spend some time together as we lead up to um, deciding on who the last batch of senators are going to be uh, around following the final vote of GB 007. I think what we're going to see as we move from phase three to phase four, or what I know we are going to see, is that after this campaign session here today comes to a wrap, I can confirm that the first two campaign sessions were successfully recorded, and breakdowns have already begun on each of the candidates' vision and goals, and the same will be done for this session as well. My goal over the next 48 hours is to post those recordings and break down each candidate so each person can and revisit the visions from these candidates and I guess figure out which one they align with the closest. And then what will happen after that is we will have to uh, essentially cut the candidates, not physically in half, but the amount of candidates that are eligible to run for the chancellorship. Uh, we will have to cut that number from 8 to 4. And following the result of that vote, we will open up debate week, where we will have 2 debates that will go live, where I will host, and each of the remaining candidates will answer questions regarding things like how they would specifically handle certain situations and threats from the ex-Chancellor Galleon, how they would manage certain decisions and the consequences that have been made following previous votes, things like how to handle the quantum splinter, how to potentially improve the lives of the citizens on Draco 9 who still remain, things of that nature. Also, what we're going to be seeing in the very near future as well is a handful of galactic senators who seem to have been consumed by the dark side, and they are pounding down my door for an opportunity to explore that further. They're in a very experimental stage of their life, going back to college years, I guess, for them, and they're really looking forward to seeing what they can do with that opportunity. So we're narrowing down on that opportunity for them. So stay vigilant. Do not allow yourself to succumb to their attempts to sway you to the dark side. And yeah, I look forward to that opportunity as well. So, without further ado, I will ask Senator Lemonboy to raise his hand and bring him up on stage. Prior to doing so, if I think we all know that Senator Lemonboy has, in his own form and fashion, given his all to this experience thus far. And he's a candidate that seems to uh, galvanize and also, at the same time, um, cause some ruckus at times, uh, all doing so in one foul swoop. And I'm really looking forward to hearing the direction of his campaign speech and seeing, I guess, which side of him we'll see today. So, Senator Lemonboy, um, I am. I did send an invite. Here we go. I think it should have gone out now. Just want to confirm audio first with you, Senator, and then I'll allow you to have the stage. I cannot hear anything right now. It sounds like you're trying to potentially play some music in the background.
Hello? Hello?
Hi, yes, we can hear you talk. It did sound like you were attempting to potentially, like there was trumpets playing in the background, perhaps, but we weren't able to fully hear that. But we can
You
hear
must
you.
be most mistaken, Lieutenant Vaglius. I have no need for common rabble music for parades of any kind. I'm a simple man. If it is all right with you,
Well,
I'm prepared to proceed with my speech.
all right, audio is confirmed. Senator Chancellor, Senator Chancellor. Oh, that's already some ammunition for you. But Senator Lemonboy, off you go.
Thank you. Friends, senators, galaxy men, I come to you today not to whisper empty promises into your ears, but to recite cold, hard facts from sessions prior. For the truth of the matter, dear senators, is that the longer we have held court here in our ivory tower, the less capable our body has become when distinguishing fact from fiction. Now to begin, I alone, amongst my peers, amongst my fellow candidates now groveling beneath me within the chat, I alone have ever confronted Gallium face to face and called him out for the evil brewing as a result of the way he had governed this very Senate. This was a demonstration of the innate righteousness I possess to confront the cancerous lesions found within our organization, as well as my shrewd powers of discernment. I alone sounded the warning call to my brothers and sisters here within this Senate that the clone army was the most logical course of action for our galaxy to undertake. This was a clear demonstration of my intelligence when identifying overt benefits and their secondary or even tertiary externalities, and demonstration of my selflessness, as why would a man with as many wives as I care for a sexy clone army other than for it to provide benefit to others? I alone offered up my very own corporeal flesh and all the blood and viscera that resides within in sacrifice of the greater good, as I volunteered my skills and my knives akimbo to single-handedly vanquish the Leviathan. An act which, if successful, would have not only saved millions upon millions of Nebulons and countless lives upon planet Chiglius, but also would have afforded our Senate the opportunity to save even more lives via the freeing of resources to target any of the other pressing emergency at the time of our vote. This was none other than an obvious demonstration of my pragmatism and nigh superhuman ability to perform when dealing with immense pressures. I alone was famously kidnapped by ex-Chancellor Gallion and tortured Casino Royale style for weeks on end in an effort to extract crucial classified information regarding my beloved homeland of Sector 8479985331246-AB+, as well as classified information regarding the greater galaxy at large, mind you. Not only was I able to heroically rebuke the diabolical ex-chancellor's relentless torture, which still to this day sends a shudder down my spine, yet upon my triumphant escape from the villain's clutches, I still sought to utilize the opportunity to demonstrate my immense sense of empathy by immersing myself in the lifestyle of the common folk of our galaxy to gain better insight into the problems they face and to further my already impressive skill set by becoming a practitioner of the oldest job in the world, sucking for survival. To my fellow candidates, I say without a drop of malice in my heart that you are men of reaction, not men of action. You are men of words, not men of action. You are good men, one and all, but you are not men of action. And what I present to us today, to this Senate, to the solution we all seek, is a man of action, my body whole. Please, if you would, have me as your very chancellor. Thank you.
Thank you, Shadow Chancellor. I'll recognize the title here today for you coming up on stage and reflecting on your journey and the journey of the other candidates as well throughout the experience from the very first vote to the last. You have undoubtedly gone through a lot of ups and downs through your experience here in the Reaper's Galaxy and as a galactic senator. And
a lot of ups and downs, and mind you, Lieutenant Vaglius, a number of ups and downs, but never once a false step. Always I have strode forward correctly, my mind and body aligned, attuned to the truth and that which is right. The way you put it did not please me, so I thought I would correct you thusly.
Well, I my job here isn't to please, but I appreciate the correction. I do want to propose a follow-up question, as I have to the other candidates following their campaign speech. And one of the experiences we had as a group is the opportunity for being interviewed by the elders. And I want to talk a little bit and provide some transparency for your scoring in that experience, which As a total score was found in the middle of the pack, which is very respectable. But what I found very interesting, and what I'd love to hear your thoughts are on, are your biggest strength pillar was empathy, and I'm curious as to how you're going to use that strength moving forward, and were you surprised by that result?
Nothing has ever surprised me in my life, Captain Veglius. And when it comes to the great calculations of the elders, I tried to be polite in prior sessions when I described my elder interviews. I tried to refer to it as my demonstration of prowess. I will not tiptoe lightly any further. Upon entering each chamber with the aged elders, I did engage each time in intercourse. And there was no interview conducted for me, for I immediately glanced upon them and was able to ascertain what it is that they truly needed. And yes, my score now found to be middling in terms of where I lie in the pack. What is there to be surprised about? Would you expect a perfect score when you are now entered into a six-sided lover's quarrel with each elder as they had learned of the happenings of what happened in the chamber prior? But at the same time, my position in the middle of the pack, well, despite that quarrel, I'm not last. And even still, as they hate me so, their love for me and their acknowledgement of my capability does burn brightly. Empathy, regardless of whatever was portrayed in that interview and the ensuing results, a strength of mine, yes, but a strength on equal footing as all other pillars, I most assure you.
So not only uh, did you finish middle of the pack in the elder interview score, you were literally in the middle of that pack of a six-sided lovers quarrel. Um,
You pose an interesting solution, an interesting remediation for this quarrel. Maybe if we were all to get in a room together, maybe I could sort that out. But of course, there's time for fun after this campaign is over. Still, regardless, I thank you for the suggestion.
yes, yes, I drew a little bit of a connection there, perhaps. It might have even been that the elders really had a strong reflection after that experience with you. Curious as to how they landed on your biggest weakness being wisdom. Any insights there, or any opinions to share about your biggest weakness in the elder sexual experience that you had?
Mm, well, I'll ask you this, Private Vegas. Would you consider it wise to go room to room with each of your lovers back to back when none of them knew of the other, and only for them to then immediately afterwards to all be convening to vote upon that individual being also their lover? Uh, Wisdom, no. In that instance, yes, I did falter. But I remind you, there's a large differentiation between wisdom and intelligence. One that I will not get into on this stage, of course. I do not need to bore you with the details. But what I might be lacking for in wisdom, which is nothing, for as I have mentioned previously, I am on equal footing with each of my pillars. I am equally making up for in intelligence, which, again, I am not lacking. They are all equal.
Yes, Senator. I think that your capacity and ability to deliver your message stands strong within this Senate, and you do seem to, uh, you know, have made some very strong statements throughout the past. But upon reflection, you hadn't been wrong very often. So I applaud you for your unique delivery, and also solid decision making. and overall activity engagement throughout this experience. And very curious and interested to see if you make it to the next stage of
It seems to
campaign
me like hell must have frozen over for you two to finally admit your wrongdoings, Captain Veglius. Yes, you got into the crux of it now. Truly, from the beginning, not only have I always accosted you yourself, which I do have questions of, as well as our great former purple piece of shit, but in truth, upon reflection, even when I sit and think and ponder there within my office in the great sector 8655-374-8892-AB plus, that truly, how can a man walk such a tightrope his whole life, never once even seeing his knees tremble amongst the weight of the boulder that he simultaneously carries on his back at the same time as he crosses that tightrope, that boulder being this Senate, and the boulder on top of that being this galaxy. There's two boulders in this scenario. But with that, moving on to the clone vote, where I was most famously the most outspoken advocate for. And then, with incredible foresight that not even I could predict, likely, truly, if we're being quite honest, a divination from the gods, the very fact that I was prepared to slay the Leviathan that now has been very much so turned against us. I haven't failed you yet, senators. Why think that it would ever start now?
I think that is an excellent place to wrap up. Senator Lemon Boy, I appreciate you joining me up on stage here and coming to us with a very thoughtful delivery and approach. I think your message has been heard loud and clear from the senators here within the Galactic Coliseum and shall be heard by the rest who were not able to attend this event here today. Is there any closing statements you'd like to make? Are you happy for me to move forward and close the event?
I believe, Lieutenant Veglius, that when I look here upon the stage, I look to my right, I see no one beside me. I look to my left, I see no one beside me. I'm not surprised that my fellow candidates were, in a word, afraid to be here, to even be amongst my presence. I wish I was surprised. I wish that the individuals I'm up against would rise above and not fear me for my greatness, as has been the case all my life. But again, the burden, it seems, is mine alone to carry. And for once, I thank you for what you do, General Veglius. No, I thank you kindly.
Well, Senator, I think hell has frozen over. Hearing a thank you from you, to me, gives me hope for what potentially could be a useful relationship as you move forward throughout this campaign. And if you are chosen to be Chancellor, irregardless of our past run-ins, I would look forward to working with you, Senator, and I appreciate your perspective as always. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Why did you wink at me when you said you would look forward to working with me, Lieutenant Veglius?
I wasn't sure if you saw it, but I'm glad you caught it. Your story with the elders seems to have riled me up, sir. I apologize. It's probably a bit too early for that forward of an approach.
You're very kind. You're a kind man, but I'm not in the market for another wife. Not yet, anyways. But I'll keep that in mind.
All right. Well, with that, I think we'll take this to the DMs, and thank you all so much for joining me here today. This wraps up our campaigns for the candidacy for Chancellor. Senator Lemonboy, if you'd like to jump down into the audience to make sure you get the role that is going to be distributed for being present here today, that'd be great. Oh, awesome. You already beat me to it. I would like to wrap this up by thanking all the candidates. Well, once again, this was a very fun exercise and I think a very engaging and active experience for everyone here, including those who did not run for the spot of Chancellor. I hope that each and every one of you were able to hear most of the campaigns. And as I mentioned before, I will be providing summaries and the recordings of each session so you can listen to them or read the breakdowns for your own at your own leisure. What as far as a timeline goes, we will be going live with the vote to break this to narrow the field from 8 to 4 next week. I want to get those breakdowns up for long enough for people to review accordingly, and then the vote will stay open for the usual amount of time. Once that vote gets broken down to 4, we will have the debates scheduled. I will need to get in touch with each of the final 4 candidates to find times that work for each of them, which you all know can be difficult in this galaxy. But we will get it done and continue to push forward. And then after those 2 debates, we will lead into the final vote to see who will become chancellor. With that, let me just distribute the roll, and then I will let you all go on your merry way for your weekends. I hope you all have a great galactic weekend, and I appreciate each and every one of your presence here today. That roll should be distributed now. As always, give it a little bit of time, and it should be all right. Actually, I see it working for some of you now. It was a bit funky last time, so I just want to, before I close this session, I want to just double check here. Took a little while last time, so has anyone gotten the role yet? Let's just see. See second campaigns, but no third one yet. There are some. Thank you, Partisan, for confirming that for me. All right, with that, I will let you all go. Have a great weekend. Bye.